American and Israeli officials met virtually about a planned ground offensive in Rafah by the Israel Defense Force. Talks were canceled by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu last week when the U.S. didn't veto a UN resolution that called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Nancy Cordes joins us now from the White House. And Nancy, walk us through the tensions between these two countries over the possible offensive in Rafah.
Well, U.S. officials, Nicole, are very concerned that any kind of large-scale ground offensive in Rafah, where more than 1 million Palestinian civilians are taking shelter, could have drastic implications for those civilians who are already hungry, undernourished, don't have enough medical care. And what U.S. officials have been arguing is that there are other ways that the Israelis can go after Hamas, the remnants of it in Rafah, ways that better protect Palestinian civilians. And so that's what this virtual meeting was about today. We're told it lasted about 2.5 hours. It involved top U.S. officials like the National Security Advisor and the Secretary of State meeting with Israeli top officials and basically laying out alternatives for them, sort of a menu of options that don't involve a major ground offensive in Rafah. We're told that the Israelis agreed to consider those options and that they're going to meet again. But this is a big sticking point between the Americans and Israelis and has been for weeks because the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has been arguing publicly that the only way that he can complete his objectives of getting rid of Hamas is with a major ground invasion of Rafah in the south of Gaza.
A joint investigation by 60 Minutes has uncovered new evidence about Havana syndrome, suggesting that Russia may be behind this mysterious illness that has impacted U.S. diplomats and security officials. What is the White House telling you about this?
Yeah, this 60 Minutes report, Nicole, was a real bombshell because basically U.S. intelligence officials for quite some time now have been arguing that it's unlikely that any foreign power is responsible for all of these cases of so-called Havana syndrome that have been experienced by U.S. officials working around the world. The inner ear damage, the vertigo, the headaches, the splitting noises that they all report to have heard, the intense pain. What the intelligence community has been saying publicly is that there's maybe some other explanation for all of this. But 60 Minutes really uncovered some very striking links between Russian military intelligence and these cases. And so that's what I asked the White House press secretary about today. Take a listen. 60 Minutes reported last night on a connection between anomalous health incidents and a unit of the Russian military intelligence service. What's the White House reaction to that report?
So I'm going to be really careful here. The intelligence community has not concluded that. Obviously, there was an assessment that intelligence community made, and so I would have to refer you to ODNI on their assessment. But that particular piece about Russia, I know that they had not concluded that.
And a couple of us pressed her repeatedly on this issue, but she was clearly very cautious, not wanting to go any further than the Director of National Intelligence has gone in the past, even though the Pentagon confirmed today, 60 Minutes reporting last night, that a Pentagon official who was attending the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania last summer also experienced some of these symptoms, and the Pentagon would not provide any update on that official's condition, Nicole.
And Nancy, turning to Ukraine, House Speaker Mike Johnson has indicated he'll likely put a supplemental aid package on the floor after the Easter recess. Here's what he said over the weekend.
When it comes to the supplemental, we've been working to build that consensus. We've been talking to all the members, especially now over the district work period. When we return after this work period, we'll be moving a product, but it's going to, I think, have some important innovations.
And I think that's the key word there, innovations, right? And as you know, some congressional Republicans, for instance, have floated this idea of restructuring the aid as a loan payment. I mean, how does the White House feel about that?
The White House thinks that the Speaker should put the bill on the floor as is. with the aid that they have been asking for months for Ukraine. They believe that if that bill were to be put on the floor, it would pass with an overwhelming majority of Democratic and Republican votes. Now, they acknowledge that the House Speaker is in a bit of a bind, and he's got his right flank angry about his willingness to push that forward. But at the end of the day, the White House says that this money needs to go to Ukraine sooner rather than later.
All right, Nancy Cordes at the White House tonight. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.